It's Shay Styles, and let's get into how to make this sweater scarf. I used Haiku Simplicity Sprays yarn, and the color is Girly. I used a 3.5mm crochet hook, some scissors, tapestry needle, measuring tape, and stitch markers. This pattern is super easy to do. It's going to take you a bit of some time, but it's very easy to create. This video is going to have a range of sizes to help you create the sweater scarf for your liking. Make sure to check out my video on different ways that you can wear your sweater scarf. I am a size extra small, and so I created a sweater scarf that fits my size. And so for extra small, we're first going to start off with a really long chain. So I chained 375 chains to start it off. If you're going to do a medium or large, you'll do 449 chains. An extra large to a 2XL, 523 chains. If you have a counter, please make sure you use that counter to make sure that you don't lose count, because it's very important for you to keep count. So I'll meet you back at the end of whatever your count is. Mine is 375. To begin row 1, we're going to first start off by chaining 2 additional chains. These are going to be our turning chains, and we're going to do half double crochet in the remaining row. So we're going to skip the first 2 chains that we just made. We're going to yarn over. We're going to stick our crochet hook in the 3rd loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 1. We're going to yarn over again and then pull through 3. So that is a half double crochet. We're going to do it again. Yarn over, put the hook in the loop, yarn over, pull through, or yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to continue doing this all the way till you get to the end. And so you should have a total of 375 half double crochets if you are doing the smallest. If you're doing the medium large or the XL, 2XL, then make sure you have the same number of half double crochets as the number of chains that you began with. One quick tip for you. So to make sure that you don't have to count all of those, after you complete 2 half double crochets, I want you to take a stitch marker and place the stitch marker on the first half double crochet that you made, so that when we make our way back down, we don't have to count. We know that once we hit that stitch marker, we have completed the row of 375, or whatever the length is for the medium large or 2XL. Sorry for the change in lighting, but we are down at the bottom of our chain with our last half double crochet. And what we're going to do after this is we're going to chain 1 for our turning chain, and we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to do back loop only, single crochet, back loop only, single crochet. So if we look here, we see that the front bars, or the front loops, that's the front, and the ones that are in the back, which I'm showing you right now, those are back loops. So we're going to do our single crochets in the back loop. We're going to skip the first chain that we made because that's our turning chain. We're going to insert our hook into the second loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Again, we're going to stick our hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do this along the length of our chain. So remember, before I gave you that tip about the stitch marker, we're going to do the same thing at the opposite end. So that first single crochet that we did, we're going to put a stitch marker there so we don't have to count any more. That's going to alleviate us from any sort of counting errors that we could potentially make if we didn't have these stitch markers. So you are going to do a single crochet in the back loop all the way down to the end where your other stitch marker is. See you back when you get all the way to the end. We're at the end of row 2 now, and what we're going to do at the end of row 2 is we're going to do 2 chains, and then we're going to turn our work. So I've made it to the end, going to chain 1, and I'm going to chain 2. Then I'm going to turn my work, and every time you chain 2, that means you're going to do a half double crochet. When you chain 1, that means you're doing a single crochet. We're working in back loop only again this time. So we skip the first 2 chains, put our hook under the 3rd loop, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over again, pull through 3. In the next loop, we yarn over, stick our hook under the next loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 3. We're going to continue doing half double crochets in back loop only along the entire length of our chain. So after we've completed 2 or 3, you're then going to place your work down, grab your stitch marker, and we're going to put it into the first half double crochet of our chain that we're working on, so that again we don't have to count. Then we just keep on crocheting, doing our half double crochet until we get to the other end where our stitch marker is. So see you back when you get down there so we can do row 4. We're at the end of row 3 with our last half double crochet. Once you finish your last half double crochet, chain 1 and turn your work. And this is what it looks like so far, rows 1 through 3. What we're going to do now is, since we did our chain 1, we skipped the first chain and we're doing back loop only single crochet. We're going to do back loop only single crochet throughout the length of our work. We're going to do it for row 4 and every even row for the length of the entire scarf. Remember, after you do 2 or 3 single crochets, you are going to move that stitch marker into the first stitch and close it up, and then you don't have to count anymore until you get to the very end. I'll see you back at the end of row 4 so we can continue on at row 5. We're at the end of row 4 with our last single crochet. We're going to chain 2 and then we're going to turn our work. Remember, every time you chain 2, that means you're going to begin doing half double crochets. So after we chain 2, we skip the first 2, and then in the 3rd loop or the 3rd chain, we're going to do our half double crochet. In the 5th row and every odd row throughout the length of the scarf, you're going to do half double crochets. So let's get into how many rows you're going to have to do. I'm making an extra small, so I need to do 43 rows. Remember, you're alternating between half double crochet and single crochet back loop only. And if you're going to do a medium large, you're going to do 49 rows. If you're doing an extra large 2XL, you're going to do 57 rows. So I'll meet you back when you have completed the entire scarf. So that's either 43 rows, 49 rows, or 57 rows. Look at this scarf. I just love the way the colors look for this girly Simplicity Spray yarn. Just beautiful. So now let's get into our first sleeve, and we'll be working our sleeves into the edge of the scarf. So what we need to do is we need to first start off with our border. So we're going to create a row of single crochets. In the first stitch there, we're going to do a single crochet. And then we're going to do another single crochet in the space right before we get to our back loop only single crochet. Where the yarn kind of looks bulky, that's our single crochet. We're going to put one single crochet in that space there. And then right next to the bulky area where we see that the yarn is elongated, that's our half double crochet. We're going to put two in that space. So we're going to put one in the wider space, and then there's that big hole. I just stick my crochet hook in that big hole and create the other single crochet. We're going to do that along the entire width of the scarf. So here's the bulky area there. That's our single crochet. We're going to put one single crochet there, and then in the wide space another single crochet, and then in that big hole we do a single crochet. We're going to do that till we get all the way to the end, and then we're going to start the length of our actual sleeve. So see you back when you get to the end of the width of this scarf. So we're down at the very end, and we've created our border for the edge of our scarf, and now we're going to start creating that sleeve. So what we're going to do once we get down to the end is we're going to start to make our chains. We're going to chain 47, and that should give us the part of the length of the sleeve. And we're going to make a ribbed sleeve, just like you would traditionally see on a sweater. So to start us off, again, you're going to chain 47. When you get to the end of 47, meet me back and we'll continue on the next steps to creating this ribbed sleeve. So we're at the end of our 47 chains. The 47 chain included the one turning chain. So it was 46 chains plus one for our turning chain. We're now going to skip that one chain, and we're going to do single crochet in 46 chains leading all the way back to the edge of our scarf. You can put a stitch marker at that first chain just to let you know that you're at chain 46 or towards the end, or you don't have to. I didn't. I just counted since it was a very small number. But you're going to do 46 single crochets back towards the edge of the scarf. We're at the edge of the scarf now. We're doing our last single crochet. What we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 slip stitches in the edge of the scarf. So in order to do the slip stitch, you're going to place your crochet hook under both loops. We're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. We're going to do that one more time. So in the next chain that's on the edge of the scarf, we're going to put the crochet hook under both of the loops. We're going to yarn over and then pull through 2, and we just completed 2 slip stitches. Now we're going to turn our work, which is the 46 chains that we crocheted. We're going to do back loop only slip stitches along this length here. We're going to skip those first 2 slip stitches that we did in the edge, and working only in the back loops, we're going to do slip stitches all the way to the end, and so you should have a total of 46 slip stitches all the way to the end, and that's going to be our second row of the sleeve. So in the back loop, we put our crochet hook under the back loop only, we yarn over, and we pull through 2. Sorry you couldn't see that. Crochet hook underneath the next loop, yarn over, and pull through both. And we do that until we get to the very end. When we get to the very end, we'll be back to see what do we do for row 3. We're down at the edge of row 2 doing our last few slip stitches towards the very end, and so you should have 46 slip stitches until the very end. Then you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work and going in the opposing direction. Remember to skip that first chain. We're working in back loop only. You're going to skip the first chain, enter your hook into the second chain, and you're going to do a single crochet along the length until you reach the edge of the scarf. See you back at the edge of the scarf. We're at the edge of the scarf now, and we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 2 chains that's along the length or the edge of the scarf. So remember, take your hook, put it underneath both loops, yarn over, and pull through both chains. I'm going to do the same thing for the next stitch. Take your hook under both loops, yarn over, and pull through. And then once you do that, you're going to turn your work. You're going to skip the first 2 slip stitches, and then we're going to enter into the back loop only of the third, and we're going to do a slip stitch in the back loop all the way to the end. Remember, you should have 46 slip stitches all the way till the end. And you're going to just continue to repeat these patterns until you have reached the very end of the scarf. So just going up and down, up and down, up and down until you have completed the chains that are the full width of the scarf. So remember, going away from the edge of the scarf, you're doing slip stitch, and then going towards the scarf, the edge of the scarf, you're doing single crochet. I'll meet you back when you have completed all of the rows of your first sleeve. Down at the last row at the edge of the sleeve, we're going to finish off by doing our single crochets. It should be a single crochet for you as well. If not, then you want to do an additional row just to make sure that you are ending on a single crochet row heading back to the edge of the scarf. Once you get down towards the edge of the scarf, and after you've completed your last single crochet, you want to do a slip stitch that binds the sleeve to the edge of the scarf. Once you do that slip stitch, which I'm about to do now, I'm connecting it with the edge of the sleeve. Once you do that, you're just going to fasten off and cut your string, and you have completed the ribbing for one side of the sleeve. And then we're going to move on to what we need to do for the second sleeve. So here is what the ribbing should look like for your sleeve, with alternating single crochet and slip stitch rows. We go all the way to the opposing end of the scarf, and then we're going to flip it to the other side, and we're going to work on the opposite side to complete the sleeve for the opposing edge. So where you left your stitch marker off, you're going to start working on the opposing end of where that stitch marker is, and you are going to do you're going to fasten onto that edge to work towards that stitch marker. So we put our crochet hook in the edge of the loop, we attach our yarn, and then we're just going to kind of do like a little slip stitch to adhere it on. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, right? So in every half double crochet, we're going to put 2 single crochets, and in every single crochet, we're going to put 1 single crochet. we're going to be repeating the same process that we did for the other side of the scarf. So let's start off with our 2 single crochets, and then we get to our bump there where our single crochet is, and we do another one there. We are at our half double crochet. We do 2 single crochets in that space. Don't forget about that big hole, making your single crochet in that big hole. And then right next to it is our single crochet. So we do a single crochet in that row, and then we're at our half double crochet. So we do 2, so 1 in the elongated space and then 1 in the hole. And we continue doing that until you make it all the way to the opposing end where your stitch marker is. Meet you back towards the end of your foundation row to begin your second sleeve. Down at the edge near the stitch marker to finish off the last few single crochets, I remove my stitch marker, and then I'm going to do my last single crochet there on the edge. And then we're going to repeat the same thing that we did last time. So after you finish your last single crochet, you have completed your edge, and then you're going to chain 47 just like we did before. Remember, it is 46 plus 1, and that 1 is our turning chain. Once we chain our 47, we're going to begin working down towards the edge of the second side of the scarf to create our ribbed sleeve. We made it down to 47, so just like we did before, we're going to skip that first chain, and heading back towards the scarf, you're going to do single crochets. You're going to do 2 slip stitches in the edge of the scarf, and then you're going to do slip stitches away, and you're going to continue to do that until you get towards the very end, just like we did before. Forgotten any steps? Just rewind back to the directions for sleeve 1. You should have completed your second sleeve at this point, or the ribbing to the second sleeve. And what you're going to do at both ends is you're going to measure the length of 20 inches on both ends. And you're going to place a stitch marker on the right end and the left end to measure off 20 inches. We're going to use the mattress stitch to seam up the right side and the left side to actually create our sleeves. So to start off, we want to work with the right side of the garment facing us. And so you should see like the braided look towards you, facing towards you. And you're going to cut a long strand of yarn to use to sew everything together. And of course, you need your tapestry needle. We're going to start at the edge of our garment, and we're going to stick our tapestry needle in the edge of the sleeve. Let me zoom in a little closer so you can see it with ease. So what we're going to do now is we stick it in on the left side. I mean, you can work from the right side as well. It's totally up to you, but we stick our needle into the edge, and we're going to be working the needle back and forth. So from right side to left side, right side to left side, right side to left side. So we're going to pull our yarn through until we have kind of somewhat of a short end, maybe about 6 inches in length. And then we're going to stick our tapestry needle in the end of the opposing side with the needle going up towards you. And we pull it nice and taut so that both ends are secure next to each other. At this point, we're going to go into the opposing side, and we're going to be working behind each of the stitches. So if you pull the stitch up, you'll see that there is a bar underneath each of the stitches that we have there in the seam. And we want to go behind the bar in order to create our stitch. So we take our needle, we place it in the first stitch, so behind the bar, around and through the front. So we go behind it, and then we put our needle through and pull it up so that our needle is right behind the first and the second stitch. So if you look here, there's the first stitch and there's the second stitch, and our needle is behind both. So we pull our needle through, and now we have secured one side with the other. We're going to do the same thing on the opposing side. You don't need to pull it tight yet. We want to get a couple of rows done, and then we're going to pull it nice and tight. So then we're going to begin on the opposing side right where we left off. Again, we want to get behind the next two stitches. So we put our needle in, and then it points facing towards us on the opposing side of the bar in between the two stitches, and then we pull our yarn so that both sides meet. And now we've secured two sides. We're going to continue doing this up the length for several more stitches, and then we're going to pull the ends of the yarn so that we can seam it nice and tight. So let's take a look at what that looks like in just a bit.
Hey yo, Wayne, this is dope.
We've stitched together quite a bit of the edges so far. So now we're going to pull the top and the bottom pieces of yarn until it's nice and tight, and we see that the edges are now seamed together. You're going to do this until you reach the 20-inch mark or your stitch marker on this side, and then you're going to do the same thing on the opposing side to finish off your sleeves. Don't forget to check out the other video that shows you how to get into all of these styles. Thanks for watching.
Hey yo, Wayne, this is dope.